Today on Dine with Dina, I'm making a mango meringue tart. We have to begin with 200 grams of flour. We're making the pastry first, and then exactly half of that in butter. Push it between your thumb and fingers so that it just really breaks up. Crack 2 eggs, but you only want the yolk, so you roughly need about 100 grams of icing sugar. Once you've added in the egg and the icing sugar, I like to add in some coconut milk powder, which really adds to giving it a nice flavour, a different flavour to the normal short crust pastry. And I add in about a tablespoon or 2. Add coconut milk to help bind the pastry dough together. And then after that, I like to add in some cardamom instead of vanilla, as cardamom is traditional to Zanzibar and it's a really strong scent and smell that just is great in all your food. Add a bit more flour to your surface. And then you just kind of want to knead it quickly. Again, you don't want it to go too warm. So I have a nice smooth board, like a little baby's bottom with a few cracks. And you just want to wrap it up in cling film and put it straight into the fridge for at least an hour, but you can leave it overnight as well. After an hour, you just want to take your dough out of the fridge and get rolling. Before you take it out of the cling film, I like to take the rolling pin and just hit the dough a bit. This kind of helps to soften it as it goes quite hard from being inside the fridge. So the aim here is that you want to roll out the dough so that it's big enough to fit inside your pastry dish. But I like to make mine quite thin, so you want it about the same thickness as a £1 coin or about 1 centimetre. Once you're ready with the thickness of your dough, you just want to roll it back onto the rolling pin, and then you want to take your dish. I use an 8-inch tart pan and place it right in front of your dough, and then you want to carefully pick up your dough with the rolling pin and fold it back over, like that. You just want to push it into the corners of the tin, just with the back of your finger. Try to avoid using your nails. Once you're happy with how it sits inside, you want to take your rolling pin again and you just want to roll it over your tin to cut off the excess edges. Grab a piece of baking paper and place it straight into your tart pan. And then you want to fill it either with baking beads or rice. And then you're going to bake it in the oven for about 15 minutes at 180 degrees. And then after that, you want to remove the baking beans and bake it for a further 5 minutes. While your pastry case is baking, you want to make the mango curd. And to do this, you're going to need about 250 mils of mango puree. And then again, we want to add in the cardamom spice. This is again an alternative to using vanilla. It's a lot stronger and tastes a lot better with mango and coconut. And you just want a few good pinches of it. And you need 50 grams of sugar. You don't need too much as the mango is already really, really sweet. And then you want 2 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. And then lastly, you want to add in a lemon. I know we're not making a lemon meringue, but the sourness from the lemon makes it a lot better. Firstly, you want the shavings of a whole lemon, just to give it that extra bit of bitterness. Juice of 1 whole lemon. And then you want to turn on your heat on high and cook it for about 10 minutes until it starts to thicken. Give it a whisk so that everything can mix in together. Milk powder is also really good for an alternative to using corn flour, which helps to thicken it. Once your pastry case is fully baked and your mango puree has cooked well, you'll know it's cooked well because it will also evaporate and would have shrunk by at least 1/3. You want to just pour it all straight into the tin and it should fit it right to the top really nicely. You want to put it straight back in the oven just for another 10 minutes at 160 degrees, and this will just allow it to firm a bit more. Once your tart is fully cooked, it will have a slight jiggle in it, and you just want to leave it to cool to room temperature before placing it in the fridge. So as soon as your pie has finished cooling in the fridge for at least a couple of hours, you can take it out and it'll be ready to prepare for your meringue. You're going to need 225 grams of caster sugar, and you want to add it to a saucepan with 75 mils of water, and you just want to bring it to a boil and just keep stirring it until the sugar is completely dissolved inside the water. You're also going to need a candy thermometer, unless you're really clever and you can eyeball how well the sugar should be cooked to. With your thermometer, you want the sugar to reach 120 degrees. At the last minute, when your syrup reaches 110 degrees, begin whisking your egg whites. You want to make sure that your egg whites are at a soft peak stage, then slowly pour in the sugar syrup. As soon as your meringue is ready, you need to make sure that it's completely cool on the bottom, and you should be left with a really stiff and shiny peak, like this one. And we're just going to incorporate some desiccated coconut. I thought I would keep up the coconut theme, and it seemed appropriate to add in some desiccated coconut. You don't need too much, probably about 2 tablespoons or 3 is enough, and just slowly fold it in. And the best part about the desiccated coconut is going to leave you with a nice crunch when you're eating it too. Really dollop it onto your tart. There's no need to make it look pretty. I think the rustic effect of dolloping it on and making it high is just perfect. Once you're happy with how it's all placed on top, you just want to take your blowtorch, burn all of the edges. And it's really to your liking to how much you burn. I mean, I like it really toasty, kind of tastes like marshmallow. And there you go, that is your mango meringue tart ready. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out some of my other recipes on dinewithdina.co.uk.